In this installment, we're going to be going over the NBA bets for Wednesday, January 29th. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to bring you the winning ingredients for our January 29th NBA slate we got going on for bets. But before we deep dive into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetShetsD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about that Patreon. Right now, we're at the homepage of the YouTube channel, currently at 9.07 thousand subscribers. This is the road to 10K, and we're well on our way because you guys are showing up each and every single day. If you're already subscribed, continue to like and comment. That helps the YouTube algorithm so we can grow to a much broader audience. And speaking about that Patreon, guys, if you signed up for the Patreon, you had a very good Monday here. I gave out two parlays there, two community parlays here. Christian Braun 10 points, Naz Reid 10 points, Dame Lillard 20 points. That was a nice double up for plus 111. I also gave out a second community parlay that cashed, plus 473. Malik Monk 4 assists, Naz Reid 2 threes, Damian Lillard for 25 points, and Norman Powell for over 25.5 points and rebounds, and that cashed as well. Not only that, we had late plays that smashed here. We had a little bit of an Arizona parlay. Phoenix Suns win outright, and the Arizona team here in college basketball defeated Iowa State, number 3 ranked Iowa State. So we have both of those plays there as well. We had a phenomenal Monday. All right, so if you want to sign up for the Patreon, that link is provided down below. Get connected. You're getting access to daily bets, future bets, and access to that group chat that goes out 24/7. I'm so excited to announce I have partnered with BetStamp and Sign Up Expert to provide you guys with an easier way to sign up with any sportsbook in your area. If you go to the link in the description down below, you will be directed to this page you see here. It automatically displays all available sportsbooks in your area plus their current promotions. For example, you could take the plays given in this video and apply it to any other sportsbooks you don't currently have and reap the rewards. Now let's get into the slate. First game up here in Spectrum Center, we have the Charlotte Hornets 12-31 going up against the Brooklyn Nets 14-33. Looking at the current odds for this game here, we have the Hornets as solidified home favorites, minus 150 on the money line, with the comeback of the Brooklyn Nets at a plus 125. Point spread at 2.5. Total points at 205.5. All right, looking at the public bet percentage here, no information as of right now on the money line, but for the point spread, 79% of the bets, 71% of the money all over the Charlotte Hornets to cover, and for the total points, 82% of the bets, 81% of the money towards the over of 205.5. All right, for the injury report here for these two teams, Brooklyn Nets are the team that's really hampered right now. Noah Clowney is now out. He's been starting for the team and he's gone. Cam Thomas is still out. Cam Johnson is still out. Bogdanovich is still out. And Maxwell Lewis is going to be out of this game here. No injuries for the Charlotte Hornets. All right. So these two teams have already played earlier in November, and that was a 231 point total in that game, and that was a win by the Brooklyn Nets earlier in the season. That's when Cam Johnson was playing. Cam Thomas didn't play yet. As yet, but that was and they had Dennis Schroeder. So they traded Dennis Schroeder and Cam Johnson. Now they're missing major pieces here in this particular game. So is the Charlotte Hornets. They don't have Brandon Miller as of right now, but they got their 1-2 punch in Miles Bridges and LaMelo Ball. This line for that game earlier in the season, that was the Nets as home favorites, and they did not cover that spread. All right. Hornets covered the spread, Nets won, and for the total points, it was at 219.5. The total for this game is at 205, so drastically dropped. Obviously, there's a lot of guys missing from the Brooklyn side, and this is a team in the Nets we do not trust as long as they don't have Cam Johnson and Cam Thomas. All right, those are major factors there. Other than that, When those two guys are not playing, this is literally a G League team that they're putting on the court. And this is why they have, a 6-game losing streak? That's right, 7-game losing streak as of right now, going up against the Charlotte Hornets in this game, all right? So we got to keep following this narrative. They're going to keep not playing Cam Thomas and Cam Johnson. Then we're not going to keep betting on the Brooklyn Nets, all right? Especially in a close line like this. We're going to go with the better team here, LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges. I'm going to be on that side. And we're going to take the Charlotte Hornets on the money line. We're going to take Charlotte Hornets to cover. But I'm just giving the money line. Don't get too greedy here. Take the money line, and for the total points of 205.5, we're going to be leaning towards that's a close number, because I can see the Hornets putting up 110 no problem, and I need the Nets to do something. And in the last 5 games here, they've been struggling to get to 100 points. 96, 97, 84, 95. I would avoid the total. I would go with the team total over on the Charlotte Hornets. That is the safe one, okay? So avoid this total here. I'm going to give you team total Hornets over, all right? So Hornets money line, team total over, all right? In Madison Square Garden here, we have the red-hot New York Knicks here, 31-16, going against the Denver Nuggets, 28-18. Looking at the current odds for this matchup here, marquee matchup, Knicks minus 150 on the money line with the comeback of the Nuggets at a plus 125. Point spread set at 3.5. Total points at 239.5. All right. Public bet percentage here. No information as of right now on the money line, but I can already imagine for this one particular, looking at the point spread, that the public and the sharps are coming in on the Denver Nuggets, probably around that 40% mark, just going by what I see from the point spread. All right, because the point spread is one-sided here. It's 53% of the bets, 52% of the money on the side of the Denver Nuggets to cover the 3.5. They're going to take the points there and what they think would be a close game. Total points here, 55% of the bets, and split down the middle, 50-50 here on the total of 239.5. We'll get to that in a second. All right, looking at the injury report for these two teams, Denver Nuggets, minor injuries, Spencer Jones out, Vlatko Cantor out, Deron Holmes out for the year. And for the New York Knicks here, Josh Hart, game time decision. He's most likely going to play. Pacomi Diadat is out, Mitchell Robinson out, and Kevin Mueller is out as well. So minor injuries there for the New York Knicks as well. All right, these two teams have already played earlier in the season in November. Obviously, the total went way over when you're looking at 145 to 118. That was a big blowout, and the Knicks were underdogs in that spot in Denver. They went outright, covered the number, and went over the total of 233.5. All right, so this particular spot, yes, I could easily say, hey, Nuggets coming back against the Knicks here, get revenge and get a win. But I think I don't want to step in the way of the New York Knicks the way that they're playing right now. I think they're on another level here. And looking at the Denver Nuggets, they've struggled as of late. They got blown out by the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then they got blown out. Well, not blown out, but they lost bad to the Chicago Bulls. And that was an embarrassing performance. Chicago Bulls, very Jekyll and Hyde team this season. And this right now is a road trip for the Denver Nuggets that they're struggling. They really need to get back home right now. These two losses, I can understand the Minnesota one, the Chicago one is one that you expect for them to bounce back. Now they got to get up against a red-hot team here in the New York Knicks that's rolling, beat Atlanta, beat Brooklyn, blew out Sacramento, who's been hot, and then blew out Memphis, who's been really hot, and they put a big number on them. So I'm going to be sticking with the side of the New York Knicks on this one. Give me the money line of the New York Knicks. I'm not going to play with the point spread. You could, if you want, take the Nuggets plus 3.5, but I'm just sticking with the team here. Give me the money line on the Knicks for the total. I do think they make some adjustments, and they did bump this total up 6 more points. I'm going to go towards the under on the total of this one, all right? Especially everyone's looking at the past couple games, especially for the Knicks, and they put it up 140 back-to-back games. And they did it against Denver earlier in the season. I'm going to go against the grain. Give me the under 239.5, which is going to be it's plenty of points. It's plenty of points. But I think there's going to be a nice battle here between these two teams, and I think the Knicks pull away in that fourth quarter. In Gainbridge Fieldhouse here, we have the Indiana Pacers 25-20 going against the Detroit Pistons 23-23. Looking at the current odds for this game here, Pacers -220 on the money line, with the comeback of the Pistons at a +180, point spread at a 5.5, total points at 229.5. Public bet percentage here, no information right now on the money line, but for the point spread, 73% of the bets towards Indiana to cover, and we have 59% of the money towards Indiana to cover. For the total points, 68% of the bets and 63% of the money towards the over 229.5. All right, so for the injury report for these two teams, Pistons, Jaden Ivey, obviously he's going to be out for a while, out until March. Indiana Pacers dealing with one out. Well, no, he's not out. Andrew Nembhard, we're waiting on news for him. Right now, he's a game-time decision. And Isaiah Jackson out for the season. James Wiseman has been out for the season as well. Now, there's a little bit of a key factor in this game, I think, for the Indiana Pacers, all right? This was a team in the Pacers that kind of got thrown off their schedule, all right? They faced Cleveland, Detroit, and then Philly. Then they take 5 days off, go out all the way to Paris, France, to play the Spurs in back-to-back games. And this is their first game coming back from Paris, all right? So they could be a little jet lag. There's something, I think that this Pacers team is going to be affected with the travel switch there. The Pistons, on the other hand, been dealing with their regular schedule, and now they're struggling. They lost to Orlando, who's getting healthier, and caught the Cleveland Cavaliers at a very bad time, all right? And they bounced back and got a big win over the Pistons, all right? These two teams have really been battling it out, as you can see, all year long. Right now, the season series is going towards the Pacers here, 2-1. Pacers won the first one. Pistons bounce back in the NBA Cup, and then the Pacers beat the Pistons on the road in that game. So if we're looking at these two matchups here, Pacers were favored at 5.5. Then Pacers were favored and got upset, and then the Pacers were favored and won outright. This particular spot here, I think the points are going to be at a value for us here. We got a majority of the public and sharps on the side of the Pacers. I'm going to fade them in this spot here. Give me their division rival here in the Pistons on the +5.5. If we're talking about total points here at 229.5, they set it correctly right in the middle. The first matchup was at a 234, that went under. Then the next matchup was at 227, and that went over. And then we had a 229, and that went under. So literally the sweet spot was this last game at 229.5 in this particular spot. And we're going to go under this number, all right? So give me under on this total here. A fourth and final matchup. They're very comfortable with how each other plays. Remember, these could be some laggy legs here, jet lag legs here for the Pacers, and I think they go under this total of 229.5. In Capital One Arena here, we have the Washington Wizards here, 6-39, going up against the Toronto Raptors, 14-32. Looking at the current odds for this game here, Raptors on the money line. As of right now, there's no money line right now. I'll probably imagine that this team with a 6.5 spread, probably be around 185, almost -200, around that range. For the point spread, 6.5. For the total points, 230.5. Public bet percentage, no information still on that money line. For the point spread here, 80% of the bets, 87% of the money, all over the Toronto Raptors here. And for the total points, 66% of the bets, 65% of the money towards the over 230.5. All right. Now, injury report here for these two teams. Looking at the Toronto Raptors, Kelly Olynyk is a game-time decision, and Emmanuel Quickley is going to be out. For the Washington Wizards, Malcolm Brogdon's still out. Alex Sarr, their rookie, is game-time decision. Marvin Bagley is out, and Sadiq Bey is out as well. This is a team in the Wizards that is still struggling. This team has lost 14 games in a row. 14 games in a row here. And then the Raptors on the other end are hot right now, finally getting healthy. We were waiting for this team to turn it around, to get healthy. They got their guys back here. They're on a 4-game winning streak. They beat Atlanta back-to-back, and then handled the New Orleans Pelicans there. That's another team that's getting healthy at that moment as well. And this is the first of 4 meetings between the Toronto Raptors and the Washington Wizards. I think the Raptors show up and show out in this particular spot. We're going to go with a clean sweep here. Give me the Raptors on the money line. Give me the Raptors to cover the 6.5. And then give me the over on the total of 230.5 against this very bottom feeder team here defensively in the Washington Wizards. In TD Garden here, we have the Boston Celtics 32-15. Chicago Bulls coming back here 20-27. Looking at the current odds for this game here, Celtics are solidified, huge home favorites, minus 1,100. Come back on the Chicago Bulls at plus 700. Point spread at 14.5. And then total points at 232.5. Public bet percentage here, no information right now on the money line, but for the point spread, 77% of the bets, 80% of the money on the Chicago Bulls to cover the 14.5. All right, total points here, 68% of the bets and 68% of the money towards the over 232.5. All right. Injury report for these two teams, and we got a major injury on the side of the Chicago Bulls. All right, for the Bulls, Torrey Craig is out. Kobe White is a game time decision, and then Zach LaVine here is going to be out until February 4th. Okay, Boston Celtics, Al Horford game time decision, Jason Tatum game time decision, and Sam Hauser game time decision as well. So that's a big out there for the Chicago Bulls and Zach LaVine. These two teams have already played 3 times already, and look at these trends, okay? So, first matchup there, Celtics on the road were 12.5-point favorites. They did not cover that game. Celtics won, and the over went over 244.5 points, all right? So that was a big total there that covered and went over. For the second game, the Celtics were at home. So this is the second game, all right? This is the same exact line. Besides the total points here, Celtics 14.5-point favorites yet again, but they did not cover the game, and they outright lost the game in that one. And the total was at 240. It went under that total of 240. This was a fully healthy here. Yeah, this was a fully healthy Chicago Bulls team. We got Zach LaVine, Vucevic, Ayam Dasuno, and then the third matchup there, readjusted the line. This is Celtics on the road. It was at 11.5. Celtics covered the 11.5. The total was at 238 and then went under the 238. So from that last game, they corrected it to 232.5. All right. So they brought it really down low. You're getting a 12-point discount from the original line you got the first time these two teams met up. All right. Now, this 14.5, we have public and sharp underdog. And you really, on the point spread side, I fade that. I fade that a lot, especially we're talking about a huge number like 80%, and we're talking about a Chicago Bulls team that's most likely going to be without Zach LaVine. That is going to be without Zach LaVine. That's the guy that's going to put up 30 points, all right, to keep this game close. That's the issue here, and I can't back the Bulls without Zach LaVine, their number one player here, and we got a game time decision on Kobe White. I just can't do it. Plus the fact that we have recency bias when people are looking at these two teams match up. The Bulls came through for them. The Bulls came through on the same exact line of 14.5 and a plus 700. That's not happening again. I'll take that bet. I'll take the Celtics at home in a spot here yet again to not let that happen again. So give me the Celtics to cover the 14.5. And for the over-under, I'm going to go over the 232.5. All right, I think the Celtics put up another huge number here. Bulls try to play keep up, but it's just too much here. It's just too much offensive power here for the Celtics, and they cover and give me the over on 232.5. In Kaseya Center here, we have the Miami Heat 23-22 going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers 37-9. Looking at the injury report, looking at the odds here, Cavaliers are road favorites minus 325 on the money line with the comeback of the Miami Heat at a plus 260. Point spread at an 8.5. Total points at 227.5. Full game public bet percentage here. No information on the money line. For the point spread, 70% of the bets for Cavaliers to cover, 78% of the money for Cavs to cover. For the total points, 70% of the bets, 60% of the money towards the over 227.5. Injury report here for both of these teams. Looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers, Karis LeVert is out, Isaac Okoro is out, Dean Wade is out, and Luke Travers is out. So mainly backup guys there for the Cavaliers that are missing. Miami Heat, Josh Richardson out, Jaime Jaquez game time decision. Jimmy Butler is out. Obviously, he's been suspended yet again. I've been telling you guys, he doesn't want to play he won't play for the team, most likely for the rest. He won't play for the team. He's forcing his way out. All right. Isaiah Stevens, game time decision, and Drew Smith is out for the season. All right. These two teams already played earlier in the year, December 8th. That was a 9-point win by the Miami Heat there at home. And the Heat were underdogs. As you can see, they were plus 2.5 underdogs in that game. That total was at 223.5, and it went over. This game is a little bit different here. We have no Jimmy Butler in this one. We have a struggling Heat team here. Yes, in the last 5 games here, they did get a win over Brooklyn, and then they squeaked out a win in double overtime against Orlando. But they lost to Milwaukee, lost embarrassingly to Portland, and then handled the San Antonio Spurs. So very up and down performance, but they've been struggling to score as well. All right. Same thing for the Cavs. They've been struggling, but now there's better competition here. Lost back-to-back games to Houston. An uncharacteristic loss against Philadelphia in the middle, but they won. They just blew out Detroit and they blew out Phoenix. All right. So I think they're trying to get things right in this spot. We have a revenge narrative and no Jimmy Butler here for the Miami Heat. Give me the Cleveland Cavaliers pretty much on a complete sweep here. Give me Cavs on the money line. Give me Cavs to cover the 8.5. And I like the under in this spot here of 227.5. They moved the number up, but I think it goes under this total here with this Heat team that's struggling to put up points. You got to put the Orlando game to the side. That was double overtime. They only put up 106 against Brooklyn. A very poor defense. 96 points against Milwaukee, 107 against Portland. They did put up a big number against San Antonio, but San Antonio is one of the worst teams in the league on the road. All right, so give me Cavs to cover, Cavs money line, and the under on 227.5. In Wells Fargo Center here, we have the Philadelphia 76ers 18-27. Going up against the Sacramento Kings 24-23. Looking at the current odds for this game here, Kings are solidified road favorites, minus 300 on the money line with the comeback of the 76ers at a plus 240, point spread at a 7.5, total points at 224.5. For the injury report for these two teams, if we're looking at the injury report, no issues there for the Kings, but for the 76ers, Paul George is out, KJ Martin is out, Caleb Martin is out, and Andre Drummond is out, and Joel Embiid is out. So this is a decimated team here in the 76ers. Despite that fact, this is a 76ers team that just won 3 games in a row. They beat Cleveland, beat Chicago, and then beat the LA Lakers. All right. This is also a second game of a back-to-back there, which they did against Cleveland and Chicago. That was a back-to-back where they handled both of those games. And now the Lakers here, they handled them, and now they have to face the Kings here, who have been playing better basketball. But when they face better competition against Denver and New York Knicks, they fell short. But they had good wins against Brooklyn, Golden State, and then they blew out the Washington Wizards. All right, these two teams have already played earlier this month, about 28 days ago. Here, and that was a 6-point win in Sacramento. For the Kings here, in that lineup, let's see who they had. So there was Caleb Martin, Paul George did play. Paul George put up 30 points. There was a Kyle Lowry sighting there as well. Drummond played. So most of these guys that are out in this one played in that last game here. We have a line set at 7.5, and that's why it's set there at that number. This particular spot, I think the Kings are way too overpowered offensively, and I don't see how the 76ers stop them. I knew that was a fishy spot there with the 76ers and the Lakers. in this second game in back-to-back. I don't see them covering and handling the Kings in this one here. I warned you guys about trusting the Lakers, and they fell flat on their face against the 76ers in this one. I think the Kings handle business in this one. All right, so give me the Kings on the money line. Give me Kings to cover the 7.5 for the total 224.5. I do believe that this should go over with the Kings. How much efficient their offense is, and I think they can put up a really big number. I think they can put up around 120 plus in this spot here for the going against the 76ers, who are currently constructed. It took a 43-point game by Tyrese Maxey here to really put them away against the Lakers. He's going to have to do a similar performance again. He could definitely do it. So give me the over on the 224.5 money line and the cover of 7.5. Last but not least here in Smoothie King Center, we have the New Orleans Pelicans 12-35 going up against the Dallas Mavericks 25-22. Looking at the current odds for this matchup here, Mavericks are road favorites, -150 on the money line with the comeback of the Pelicans at a +125. Point spread at a 2.5. Total points at 231.5. Public bet percentage here, no information as of right now on the money line, but for the point spread, 86% of the bets and 74% of the money all over the Dallas Mavericks to cover the 2.5. For the total points, 71% of the bets, 77% of the money for the over 231.5. All right, looking at the injury report here for these two teams, looking at the Mavericks first. Najee Marshall, game time decision. Dwight Powell out. Dante Exum, game time decision. Maxi Kleber out. And Derek Lively is out as well. For the New Orleans Pelicans, DeJounte Murray, game time decision. Brandon Ingram is out. And Herbert Jones is out as well. All right, so these two teams have already played twice this season. One game went to Dallas, one game went to the New Orleans Pelicans. We're back in New Orleans in this one, and then the last time they met up in New Orleans, the Pelicans won by 3 points. So looking at these lines here, the first one was the Mavericks by 13.5 points. They covered that, and it went over the 222.5. The second game, they set the line yet again at 222.5. It went over, and then we had the point spread at 1.5 with the Pelicans at home. All right, this one here, they bumped up the total all the way to 231 in this particular spot. So they put this total about spot on, going by what the last two games went at for around the total. And then the point spread here is 3 points on the side of the Mavericks here, mainly because of Kyrie Irving, but you add the addition to Zion Williamson. I think the Pelicans here, yes, they have struggled the last 3 games against Memphis, Charlotte, and Toronto. Those were 3 road games, all right? They're coming back home here, and there's a much-needed home cooking, and we have the Mavericks who are comfortable at home, and now they're on the road here. I think the Pelicans have the value in this spot. Give me the Pelicans with the +2.5. Money line, you could sprinkle on the money line if you like, but I'm just going to be comfortable with taking the points in this game, where I think it's going to be a back and forth competitive battle between the Mavericks and the Pelicans, the way they're currently constructed. For the total, I think it's really spot on with that 231.5. It could go either way in this particular spot. I would lean very slightly towards the under, because we've seen the first 2 games go over that 222.5. They bumped it up 10 more points, essentially. I'm going to lean towards the under. I think it might fall right at that number there, slightly under 231.5. All right, so those are going to be our selections for the Wednesday slate in NBA. Let me know in that comment section down below if you agree. If you disagree, we can definitely debate about that. Also, for the other games I didn't go off of, you can obviously hop in on the Patreon. You sign up to that description link down below. I will give my suggestions on some of those games that are left on this particular slate. All right, this is your boy Chef D. I'll be back very soon. Peace out.